People used to leave their doors unlocked because Maple Hollow was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone. A quiet patch of America wrapped in red barns, coffee shops, and trust. Children played in the streets till sunset, and if anything went wrong, there was always one man they could count on: Tom Granger, the town's fire chief. To most, Tom wasn't just a firefighter, he was a savior. He'd saved 2 kids from a burning house 3 winters ago, organized community fundraisers, and personally fixed the town's old playground when the council ran out of money. But what nobody knew, what nobody could imagine, was that just beneath the floorboards of his perfect suburban home, something unspeakable waited to be discovered. Tom Granger lived with his wife, Marcy, and their teenage daughter, Ella, in a pale blue house at the end of Birchwood Lane. Every morning, the smell of coffee drifted from their kitchen window, and Tom would wave to the neighbors on his way to the fire station. To outsiders, they were the image of small-town perfection. Marcy worked at the library, Ella played softball, and Tom, he wore his uniform with pride. He's the kind of man you hope your son grows up to be, one neighbor once said on local TV after a fire rescue. That was before everything changed. It started with a missing woman. Her name was Cara Benson, 28, a waitress at the diner off Route 12. She'd closed up late one Friday night, waved goodbye to her co-workers, and disappeared on her short walk home. Her phone was found in a ditch near Maple Creek. At first, no one thought much of it. People went missing for all kinds of reasons. At least, that's what they told themselves. But when 2 weeks passed and Cara still hadn't shown up, panic began to spread. Tom organized a volunteer search party. He led the effort himself, mapping out areas, coordinating with police, even comforting Cara's mother on camera. The image of him, arm around her shoulder, made the front page of the Maple Hollow Gazette. Hero Fire Chief leads search for missing local woman. Nobody could have guessed that the man leading the search already knew where Cara was. Detective Rachel Mayers had worked Maple Hollow's small police department for 12 years. She admired Tom like everyone else, until something began to bother her. It was small things at first. Tom always seemed to know which areas not to bother searching. When volunteers suggested scouring the woods near Birchwood Lane, he discouraged it, saying, "Already checked there, nothing." Rachel couldn't shake the feeling he was too involved, too eager to control the narrative. Then came the call that cracked the case open. A janitor at the fire station reported a strong, foul odor coming from Tom's private office closet. Inside, he found what looked like an old torp covered in dirt and reddish stains. The police tested it. The stains weren't from an animal. They were blood. Armed with a warrant, Detective Mayers and her team arrived at Tom's home just before dawn. Marcy answered, half asleep, confused and frightened. Tom stood in the hallway, calm, too calm. "There's been some mistake," he said. "Whatever you think you're going to find, you're wrong." But when the officers entered the basement, the smell hit them first. Behind a false wall, hidden behind stacked boxes and a shelf of old trophies, they found what would later be described as a private chamber. Inside was a cot, chains, a camera, and traces of human hair and blood. In the corner, a small wooden box contained something no one expected: Cara's missing necklace, engraved with her initials, still caked in mud. The arrest sent shockwaves through Maple Hollow. People refused to believe it. Some wept in disbelief. Others defended him online. Tom would never, one post read, "He's a hero, not a monster." Marcy collapsed when the news broke. Their daughter, Ella, stopped showing up to school. Reporters swarmed the house. The hero fire chief, a killer, blared headlines across state lines. But even as Tom sat in custody, he maintained his innocence. "They are framing me," he told Detective Mayers. "You think you found something, but you're wrong. I didn't hurt anyone." Rachel wasn't convinced, but part of her still wanted to believe him, until another discovery made denial impossible. While combing through old missing persons files, Rachel's partner noticed something eerie. Over the past 8 years, 4 other women had gone missing in neighboring counties. All were young, brunette, and lived alone. None of the cases had been solved. Each disappearance happened within a 20-mile radius of Maple Hollow. One of the victims, Jenna Cross, had been pulled from a river 5 years earlier, cause of death undetermined. When Rachel looked closer at the case photos, something caught her eye. The same rope pattern used on Kara's wrists. DNA evidence from Tom's basement matched Jenna's remains. The town's hero wasn't just a killer. He was a predator, one who had hidden in plain sight for nearly a decade. After 40 hours of interrogation, Tom finally broke. He confessed to Kara's murder, but the words that followed chilled Rachel to her core. "It wasn't supposed to happen again," he said quietly. "I tried to stop. I really did." When asked why he did it, he simply replied, "I liked saving people, but sometimes I wanted to be the one who decided who got saved." He'd used his position to earn trust, to get close, to control. His victims weren't random. They were women he'd once rescued, comforted, or met through community work. The same hands that pulled people from burning homes had taken innocent lives. The courtroom was packed the day the trial began. Families of the victims filled the benches, clutching photos and holding hands. Tom sat in a gray suit, emotionless. His wife refused to testify. She'd filed for divorce weeks earlier. The prosecution painted him as a narcissistic sociopath who built his reputation on false heroism. The defense argued mental instability and childhood trauma. But when Detective Mayers took the stand, she ended the debate with one sentence that echoed through the room. Tom Granger didn't just betray his victims, he betrayed an entire town. After 3 weeks of testimony and over 100 pieces of evidence, the jury returned their verdict, guilty on all counts. Tom Granger was sentenced to life without parole. Maple Hollow would never be the same. The fire station shut down for 6 months. The playground Tom helped rebuild was torn down and rebuilt again, this time with a memorial for Kara and the other women. Detective Rachel Mayers was promoted, but she never celebrated. "You don't feel victory in cases like this," she said in an interview. "You just feel heavy." Marcy and Ella moved away quietly. No one knew where. And the blue house at the end of Birchwood Lane? It still stands, boarded up, silent, a ghost of the life that once pretended to be normal. Sometimes, at night, neighbors swear they see a flicker of light in the basement window, even though there's no electricity. In small towns like Maple Hollow, people believe they know one another. They wave, they trust, they build lives on faith in the good of others. But evil doesn't always come wearing a mask. Sometimes, it wears a uniform, smiles at parades, and saves lives until it doesn't. Tom Granger will forever be remembered not as the hero he wanted to be, but as the warning Maple Hollow will never forget.